Star Citizen Alpha 3.17.2 is now out to First Wave PTU. First Wave PTU means that players that are either CAR-T, Concierge, or RSA subscribers all now have access. So I want to delve into the patch notes and discuss its current features and known issues. The patch does not contain all of what is coming, and things like the Siege of Orison will be run at scheduled times. Derelict Reclaimers version 1. These points of interest will be scattered on both planets and in space. Derelict Reclaimers come with puzzle traversal elements, along with multiple legal and illegal mission types, which include delivery and FPS combat in and around the crash sites, using the new planetary navigation mesh. There are multiple Reclaimer derelicts in space with 3 associated delivery, investigation, and mercenary missions. We've also added a new ground-based derelict reclaimer site inhabited by NPCs called Ghost Hollow, which involves delivery, bounty hunter, and mercenary missions too. We've added more space stations around Microtech and ArcCorp. These rest stop locations have full amenities, clinics, hubs, shopping and services. This update includes both the stations themselves and the gas clouds surrounding them. They have also updated existing rest stops to have small and medium hangars. Grimhex has expanded, adding many additional medical rooms. There are new derelict colonial outposts. This initial release will see 5 unique outpost locations on Microtech with new delivery missions, small traversal puzzles, and all but one of them having AI guards that utilize the new planetary nav mesh along with the new dropship reinforcement system. Planetary navigation. This system allows NPCs to move on planet surfaces using a dynamically generated nav mesh. This will efficiently process planetary terrain and objects to prioritize the processing of environment around the players into nav mesh, allowing the use of all existing functionalities on planets. The first implementation of this feature will be at the Reclaimer and Colonial Outpost derelict points of interest. They've improved NPC face randomization to be more diverse as well. AI landing improvements enables AI ships to land and deliver reinforcements on non-structured ground areas like planetary terrain, where a predefined landing area and assistance from air traffic control is not available. New illegal collect and delivery missions. A new set of missions focusing on illegal cargo. These will be offered by Redwind Line Haul once the player reaches rank 2 reputation with them as a courier. The player will then generally be sent to sketchy rundown locations like drug labs and stash houses and is tasked with delivering goods between them, some of which may not be legal. The intro mission should be available in Hurston, assuming you're rank 2 with that courier. The illegal missions should be available outside Hurston in Crusader, ArcCorp and Microtech. If you have rank 2 courier rep with Redwind and you have completed the intro mission in Hurston. The missions come in 5 different versions, each with a different quantity of cargo and corresponding monetary and reputation reward given on completion. There have been updates to combat service beacon gameplay for a more varied and rewarding experience. This update hooks combat service beacons into Quantum to allow the system to determine when, where, and what difficulty will occur. This brings a range of 10 levels of difficulty to space combat beacons, which will start players at low tiers with easier targets, and at higher reputation levels they scale up to much more difficult missions to include tougher targets, larger payouts, and rare encounters that may require teams of players to take down the target or targets. There were some general gameplay improvements with missions as well, and just sort of looting and that sort of jazz. So higher valued gems will now be much more rare in loot crates. They've added markers for friendly AI that are associated with your current FPS mission. Players will now drop empty magazines when reloading. They've added friendly AI markers to mission NPCs, disabled corpse AI markers showing for other players as well. They've added new lootable items, so the Grey Cat Salvage Backpack, and they've added new armor to shops and lootable containers, the RRS Specialist Heavy Armor, including variants. Food and drink can also now be purchased in multiples using the shop kiosks in the Persistent Universe. And talking of which, shopping kiosks have seen a quality of life update, so they've added functionality to Quick Buy so that it's now a passive pop-up and requires no interaction. They've updated filter sections to be multi-line and added a field to support search inputs. For ships and vehicles, they've updated the dimensions and SCU of missiles on torpedoes. Mustang Alpha has seen quality of life updates. They've made changes to the cargo grid to add a new 4 SCU cargo hold with animated doors. They've updated the cargo boxes used by the Mustang so they can now be opened and hold loose cargo, so you can put mission boxes in there. They've also greatly increased the cargo bay health. The blade has had a performance polish. They've retuned weapons to increase velocity, increased wing health, changed lateral velocities, boost multiplier and aerodynamics. They've decreased the Scorpius's max speed and atmosphere and updated the audio for it. They've adjusted the Drake Mule weapon rack interactions to be easier to select. There is actually a major sort of player networking update here as well. They've enabled new remote movement and new client authoritative position systems. With this update, players should see great improvements with on-foot player positions and less jittery behavior while viewing remote player movements. They've made many improvements to on-foot AI networking to improve their movements, responses, and reduce rubber banding. There's been a performance polish pass on large planetary storms and on entity streaming as well. They've also updated Reshade to version 5.2.1. So there are a huge amount of bug fixes, though a lot of them are actually pretty important. I'll summarise a load of them here. Players should no longer be able to directly call another player to constantly monitor their location, and that exploit is now fixed. The friends list from the main menu should now work correctly. Hits against ships should now register correctly. Emptying and reloading consecutive magazines should no longer break reloading. Players should no longer become desynced after being downed and then revived. Shopping kiosks search filter should no longer reset when buying. Inventory infinite load issues have been fixed. Players and NPCs should no longer appear to pause and teleport when viewed through a scope. AI should now spawn in appropriate numbers during infiltrate and defend underground facility missions. Player injury should now fully persist through sessions. They fixed an issue causing the Argo Mole to have no cargo capacity, which prevented it from mining. Various kiosks have had loads of fixes and should now work mostly appropriately and not have like flickery screens and things like that. The dupe bug has been fixed, so players should no longer be able to dupe ship components by transferring them from read-only ships on the claim timer and then claiming the ship at another location. Item boxes left in hangars should no longer block ship spawning. Functional claim buttons should no longer appear briefly after a player selects store a ship. Elevator doors should no longer be duplicated. Various items and purchasables around ships and just around environments should now be functioning properly. Derelicts and ships should now have appropriate items and props. Ships should no longer hop and jump around after being spawned. They fixed an issue causing players to impact into planets when quantum traveling to a marker nearby or on the surface. The Scorpius had a load of bugs fixed. Various other ships had their MFD and turrets fixed. Remote turrets can now be slaved to the driver in the Nova tank, Argo Raft, Urza Rover, Anvil Ballista, and Anvil Spartan. Various atmosphere and clipping issues were fixed on many ships, and many interactions were corrected with ships and their doors, lifts, cockpits, and buttons. The Starfarer should no longer be able to quantum travel with another ship docked to it. Cargo bays on various ships and vehicles should now be accessible and the right size. AI corpses should no longer despawn too quickly while players are near. Animations for various actions like vaulting or EVA should now work correctly. Legal and illegal deploy probe missions should now show up correctly in the contract manager. The Arlington Gang Idris should now be able to maintain its flight in atmosphere. Clash of Prisons saw fixes. You should suffocate appropriately if you run out of oxygen, and the rover now spawns correctly so you can escape if you wish. They fixed 19 client and 17 server crashes, as well as multiple back-end server crashes. Also, the Arena Commander scoreboard should no longer crash client when you bring it up. There are a load of known issues currently that need to be addressed though. Multiple station easy hab elevators are broken. Looting the weapon from an unconscious AI will cause it to teleport back into their hand after a short period after picking it up. Mission objective marker disappears once arriving at Derelict Outpost 2. Dying in lawful underground facilities missions causes players to respawn at Grimhex. Bunker turrets will shoot at a player with a lawful mission to be at the bunker. Obviously they shouldn't. Some enemy AI will not engage security AI or players. When entering a ship's physics grid from EVA, the player may be forcefully repelled. Your weapon can decide to holster or unholster itself unintentionally. The buy max feature, or buying a max of an item, can cause inventory errors and insufficient stock errors. Surveillance missions do not generate a mission marker or initialize properly. Components and interior zones remain when ships are destroyed. NPCs not spawning at mission locations That's obviously a big issue. Rental kiosks can be broken and not take your money or the ship properly, or sometimes take your money but not give you the ship. Hangar elevators collision grid pushes players through its path when called in multiple locations. When selecting the text field box for quantity multiplier, you lose control of the in-game mouse cursor. That sounds pretty bad. Elevators have portals and visit areas when their doors open, and ships on landing pads end up in an unknown state and have to be reclaimed after the ship is stored or streamed out. Boom, that's how the 3.17.2 first wave PTU stands at the moment. There is still various bugs needing fixing. The Siege of Orison needs some solid testing when it's sort of scheduled to be tested, and there are some more things that might turn up through that PTU phase. But what do you think? Are you playing in the Wave 1 PTU or waiting for Open PTU or Live? What do you think of the updates so far? We know that 3.17.2 will have a wipe of everything except reputation as well, so bear that in mind. Is that something that's annoyed you or something you actually quite look forward to? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Greetings, citizen. I am NordVPN Man, bringing the justice of cybersecurity to the world. I protect you from ads, trackers, and malware. I punched a guy so hard once with security features that I knocked him back in time. He was able to use the knowledge of the future to become incredibly rich and wealthy. He bought like 10 subscriptions to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer after that. Really smart guy. Another time, I prevented a hacker from snooping at your IP address by taking off his hands. You can't hack with no hands. Probably. Anyway, you should get NordVPN, otherwise the terrorists win.
Every month we have a giveaway. For July 2022, we're giving away a Hull A cargo hauler, as well as a Nomad multi-role freighter. That Nomad also comes with a hovercraft bike. So there's 2 lucky winners this month, and both of those packages contain access to Star Citizen. Comment on any of my videos during this month to be in for a chance of winning that, and check the description down below for more details. Please consider becoming a Patreon or channel member with the join button under my videos. This nets you a variety of exclusive extras, badges, influence on the channel and content and special videos, as well as helping us produce daily content. Thank you very much for watching. Please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.